Hello, travelers, and welcome to the Horror Greenbook, the channel that takes you from coast to coast and con to con. I am your travel guide, Brendon, here in the Scary Sanctuary, bringing to you my non-spoiler review of The Long Walk, written by Richard Bachman, or AKA Stephen King, if you know, you know. Well, I was invited to this early screening of The Long Walk on Monday, and I'm just so happy to get invited to more and more of these early screenings to bring to you guys my thoughts and opinions. Um, this film is directed by Francis Lawrence, who you guys may be familiar with from directing a lot of the Hunger Games films that owe a big depth to The Long Walk, being that The Long Walk is almost like a grandfather to, flicks like The Hunger Games and Battle Royale. Um, this film is starring Cooper Hoffman, who is the son of the late, great Philip Seymour Hoffman, one of my absolute favorite character actors of all time. And this is also starring David Johnson, who you guys will remember from his very good scene stealing performance in Alien Romulus. Also, appearances by Mark Hamill and Judy Greer, who I absolutely love and adore, guys. So, those of you who aren't familiar with The Long Walk, basically the gist of this film is this is a dystopian United States that is ruled by a totalitarian regime, and basically you have a bunch of young men who are representing the 50 states who have volunteered, well, a lot of them have volunteered to participate in this walking contest in which it is literally the last man standing. And that last person is granted one wish. Anything that they could possibly wish for, they would get, along with just an endless amount of riches, which comes in handy in a United States that has fallen on hard times, which is depicted in this story. So basically, what happens is you have to keep up a pace of 3 miles per hour, and if you fall below those 3 miles an hour, you are given a warning. Each participant is giving three warnings. And if you get that third warning and you're not getting above the actual speed limit that you need to go to, you get what is called your ticket punched, as they call it in the actual book. So I guess you can assume what that means. But guys, this is a very gripping, very heart wrenching story, guys. If you're familiar with the book, or if you're someone that has read the book, they change very little. For the interest of runtime, they sometimes will combine certain things that characters did, or things of that nature, so that you can kind of get the gist of what happened in the book, but to actually move the story along in the runtime. But guys, just because the story is moving doesn't make it any less emotional, because you get to meet, some of these young men, and you get to know their stories, their philosophies on life, where they're from, just the certain things that are important to them, and why they have entered into this contest. Because basically they're signing up to pretty much die. You have a 1 in 50 chance to making it to the end. So, you have these things that are coming about in the story, that, you kind of are rooting for more than one guy, So, when certain characters are, dropping off from the race, it really tugs at your heart, guys. I was at a packed screening. There were plenty of reactions. So, there were audible gasps. There were people, screaming at the screen for certain things. No, no, they didn't want certain things to happen. And those things just make for a very good sign that this is a film that's going to resonate with audiences and the people that are watching it. You know, this is technically Stephen King's first story that he, wrote full length. And even though it wasn't the first one published, you see a lot of the King tropes that he would become known for. Being able to write about friendships. Um, it's very Stand By Me in certain cases. Very The Shawshank Redemption with a lot of similarities to like Red and Andy Dufresne. Um, you are rooting for these characters and their friendships, even though they're just meeting. They come to these spots where they are having each other's backs, where they're looking out for each other. There are times of conflict as well, but this is the circumstance of the contest, and it's kind of like for a lot of these guys, there's not a lot of hard feelings because they're coming into a lot of this from a teenager's perspective. They don't really know the gravity of what they're facing until a lot of the things start happening, until the first person you know gets their ticket punched, and then it's just kind of like, oh wow, I guess we're really in this. And it's just one of those things. And this really also goes into the tough to watch Stephen King tropes, to where it's just like, I've described this as the Green Mile times 100 in a lot of ways. So if you're someone that gets really emotional thinking about the Green Mile and John Coffey, and not having the lights turned off, and being in the dark and things of that nature, it's gonna just really remind you of certain things, you know in the future when you think about this film. I think this is gonna be in the higher echelon of King adaptations. We if anyone is familiar with Stephen King adaptations, they run the spectrum of being absolutely excellent to being trash. And I'm saying that, just in respects of how good and bad they can be. But this one is definitely along the lines of good to very good, I would say. It's going to be a hard watch, guys. This isn't going to be an enjoyable Stephen King watch. So this may be something that you may watch maybe once, maybe every so often, but I can't see this being a film that people are going to want to go and visit. This isn't a feel good story by far, guys. They don't shy away from a lot of things. Um, One con that some people could see would be the use of CGI, but I think the CGI was very respectable. It wasn't bad CGI. A lot of people got reactions from the CGI because it had to be used with people getting shot and things of that nature. But it's very gory CGI, guys. It definitely looks pretty nasty. So you had some people that were reacting to it in the theater. So if that tells you anything, that shows that, hey, it wasn't just something that was terrible in regards to its use of CGI. Um, I definitely think Cooper Hoffman did a fantastic job. Um, that kid definitely has some acting chops that he took from his father. As I mentioned, Philip Seymour Hoffman is one of those character actors that I highly respected. And, when I found that his name was Hoffman, I assumed that that may have been Philip Seymour Hoffman's son. He kind of looks like his dad in a lot of ways, so I could kind of see where the apple didn't fall too far from the trees. He definitely carries his weight, being Ray Garrity and being the main protagonist. But also, major shout out to David Johnson because coming off of his Alien Romulus role, he was an emotional part of that film as well. You really cared for his character and you wanted him to make it out as to the end, and you feel the same way with The Long Walk. You want him as Peter to make it to the end as well. So you automatically have two characters in Ray and Peter that you are rooting for, but you already know that there can only be one winner. And then to combine the other guys that you get to know and that you like in this film, it's going to be a hard watch, guys, to say the least, guys. But I highly recommend it. Mark Hamill does a very good job as the Major. There's a bit of comic relief with him because he's just kind of like in the story he's kind of like a larger than life character in a lot of ways. So a lot of his mannerisms are just very very quirky, but it definitely gives a lot of comedic relief with that. And I really enjoy Judy Greer wherever she's in. She plays Ray's mom, so there's a lot of emotional, um, pull that she has to give with being the mom in that situation, and your son pretty much, signing his life over for the chance at riches. And as you learn more about Ray's character and his story, you kind of find out what makes his story a bit more tragic in regards to his entering into the contest. But I don't really want to give away too much. I just want to say that I really enjoyed this film. I really recommend you guys see it in theaters. Look for a packed house. If there's a theater screening in which there's a good amount of people in there, go to that one because you're going to get the audience reactions into a lot of these, events that are going to happen. And, there's just something about that being in a community of theater goers, being on the same ride and going through all of those emotions and hearing people's reactions. But definitely see it in theaters, guys. As I said, it's a great time to be a Stephen King fan. Being with two Richard Bachman adaptations with The Long Walk and then later on The Running Man, which I am also excited to see. And then we also have the Dairy Show that is coming on HBO as well, guys. So us Stephen King fans are eating good this year, guys. And of course, with Stephen King, there's always more and more adaptations to come, guys. You just type in the man's name and you always will have news every couple of months about something else that's being adapted. But guys, I highly recommend this one. Go see it in theaters this weekend. Go support the film. I think these young actors did a great job. I think Francis Lawrence did another great job. If you enjoyed the Hunger Game films, don't expect that because they take out all the spectacle and all the grandiose nature of the contest, and it's very down to the dirt, very gritty depiction of this United States, and it's very poignant to see that because no matter where you stand on the political aisle, even if you're not a political person, you will see a lot of similarities with how people are unsure about the future of this nation, and it makes it an even harder pill to swallow while watching this film, guys. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on that, travelers. Go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoyed this review. Also hit that hype button. That's the new button that helps the algorithm push the videos out and the channel out to more horror fans that may enjoy this type of content. So, whether you're into horror, whether you're into reviews, if you're into horror conventions, filming locations, live watch parties, we have all of that here on the Horror Greenbook. So don't be left out. Also, comment in regards to if you're going to see The Long Walk. If you've read The Long Walk, are you excited to watch this film or The Running Man? What's your favorite Stephen King adaptation? What's your favorite Stephen King book? What was your first Stephen King book or adaptation that you saw? Let's keep it Stephen King oriented in the comments, guys. And lastly, hit that subscribe button so that you can, stick around and make sure that notification bell is on so that you don't miss out on any new content. And lo and behold, guys, spooky season is upon us. So there's going to be plenty of spooky content coming your way this season, guys. Again, thank you so much for watching this review, guys. I am your travel guide, Brendon, with the Horror Greenbook, signing off and letting you travelers know that it is scary in those streets. So let me know that you made it home safely.